Kevin, thanks for joining us today, man. Happy to see you.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's nice to have another Southern guy on the set with us. How was your deer season this year?
I would like to say it was really good. I didn't kill but one buck, but
Okay.
Michael has that golden horseshoe, and I think he killed about a dozen, so it all works out okay.
So did he? Had you been saving some for him, or did he just bulldoze and take all the good spots this year?
No, I think that he could sit in camp, and the biggest deer in the place would come lick the dew off the windows. So that's just, better be lucky than good. And we had a good year, and I did get to video a couple other guys killing some big bucks too, and just hanging out with friends in camp, having a good time.
That's awesome. Do y'all do most of your hunting there in Georgia?
Yeah, we do a fair amount because we've got a pretty good lease there we've built up over several years, but we travel all over the country.
Awesome. Cool. So tell us a little bit about what made you want to build what y'all have now, which is that massive following. Did you know or have that intent when y'all first started the show? And kind of tell us how that started.
Well, March this year makes 20 years we've been doing this. And obviously when we started, we were going to make DVDs, and then we got a lot of footage and realized, hey, instead of DVDs, we could actually make a TV show. Mm-hmm. And that was all it was back then, a TV show. Well, then, MySpace, we were all active on MySpace, and then Facebook started. And I'm going to be honest with you, Michael Lee was, we need to look pretty serious at this Facebook thing. And I was, this TV and video is where it's at. And I was the one that was wrong because we invested in it, pretty heavily with building an audience and getting engagement right off the bat. And now here we are years down the road, and it's paying off big time just in the number of followers we have and the amount of engagement we get with all of our content.
So tell us a little bit about your and Michael's relationship. How long have y'all known each other? How'd you get together? How'd that all come to fruition?
March this year makes 20 years ago. I went in a hunting store. I was supposed to meet a guy that wanted to make some turkey hunting DVDs. Okay. I was doing print ads for that store, and video was my background. That was what I did in graphic design. And the guy that I went there to meet, when he figured out how much it actually cost to make videos and how much time would be involved, he wasn't as interested as he thought. Well, Michael Lee was on pro staff for Quaker Boy Game Calls at the time. Okay. And we met that day, and it's all downhill from there.
The rest is history. Now, would he also say it was all downhill from there?
Well, I mean, he would probably say there were a few bumps here and there, but we, covered up our bruises, brushed off the dirt, and kept on rocking.
So that's y'all have a fairly unique relationship with some of the other folks that we've talked with. How has having a hunting buddy, probably a best friend at this point, how has that worked together for the good, moving forward over the past 20 years as opposed to trying to do it on your own?
Well, it works really well because we have our strengths. That's my background was in the video production side, and even when we first started, having access to cameras, because 20 years ago, camera technology was a lot different than it is now. I can pull out my cell phone now and produce better quality videos than what we were able to make with fairly expensive cameras 20 years ago. And then he has his background in computer information technologies and things like that, and really diving into the social media world more, and figuring out a lot of those algorithms and how they work. And it's just, we have each kind of complemented each other's talents and abilities. And especially doing a TV show in this 20 years, the first several years, it's an uphill battle. And if we were having to pay a bunch of other companies to come in and produce stuff for us, we wouldn't have been able to keep pulling the line, because we were doing it ourselves and able to do things, quickly, easily, cheaply. We were able to weather the storm until, now 20 years later, people know who we are, and we're able to hold our own with, in the industry.
So speaking of that 20-year gap, what comes to your mind as the biggest change between not only how you were doing it then and how you're able to do it now, but just the hunting industry as a whole?
Well, I know that, we keep talking about the social media aspect of a lot of this, and that's, the difference of those slices of the pie of what we do have changed a lot. That's TV is just one little slice of the pie, and the whole content generation for social media is a bigger part of it. You know, everybody, we're at SHOT Show this week, and everybody in those rooms are focused much more on content generation and getting that to the masses than they are what avenue it goes out at this point.
What, as you've worked together with Michael on that, what are some specific things that you've learned along the way that have helped you in other aspects of your life? It could be through hunting or through building that content, or your relationship, your work relationship with him. What have been some life lessons that you've learned through that?
Oh, getting to the hard questions now. I would say, I mean, they're obviously producing outdoor television like we have for 20 years. Don't be afraid to dream big, because just because nobody's done it before doesn't mean it can't be done. And don't be afraid to think outside of the box and do it differently than somebody else has done it. Especially, you know, back when we started, there were a fair number of outdoor TV shows, but there weren't a lot doing it kind of the way we do now, of the realism. It was, everybody wanted to stand in front of a camera and tell you how big of a deer they killed and how you needed to do exactly what they did to do that same thing. And it's now people, they just want to see you having fun. They do want a little bit of education in the process, but it's a lot more of the entertainment value and enjoying what you're doing, instead of you have to do it like this and that's the only way possible. It's a different world than what it was back then.
Yeah, so at what point in that process, in that timeline, did y'all look at each other and go, we got something good here. We've got something that people like and are wanting to see.
Shoot, we thought we had something good from day one. But, you know, it obviously takes a long time for other people to see what you're doing and have the exposure to what you're doing.
So was there that one video or one, you know, at what point, I guess, I'll ask it this way, at what point did you go, people love us? You know, if this is, people are really, at what point did you notice, you know, that the following was growing so quickly?
I would say even right now today, I still don't think people love us, and it blows my mind whenever we're in the middle of somewhere and somebody comes up and, you know, starts naming off things they've watched us do. I still don't think I've gotten to that point of expecting or accepting that, but I can remember years ago at a trade show, we were signing posters at our Broadhead sponsor at the Times booth, and a couple big names in the outdoor world walked by, and one of them stopped and shook her hand and said, "Hey, been watching what you guys are doing. I really enjoy it. Keep up the good work." And it's, as a young guy sitting there and you say, okay, I've watched him on TV for half my life and he saw what we were doing, it makes you kind of validate, what we're doing is somebody's watching it.
Who was it? Who was that?
Cuz Strickland.
Nice. Very cool. Another Southern boy. So what advice would you give, you know, it can be younger guys, it can be older guys, whoever, that are, you know, wanting to follow in those footsteps? I think that's been something that's been an echo through everyone that we've interviewed, is that social media, whether your opinion is it's good or bad, it's a fact that it's given everyone a platform. So what's your advice to somebody wanting to either attempt to, you know, make a living out of being an influencer or a content creator, or just filming their hunts?
I would say two things. One, don't have super high expectations. Don't think that, okay, I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to be rich next year because of it. Because realistically, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to dive off and try it, because you never know. Because even with what we do, and we have figured out a lot of the equation of making the posts and trying to make things reach most eyeballs, but we can post one deer hunt that reaches 20 million people in a vertical reel, and we can post another deer hunt that looks exactly the same that reaches 10,000.
Yeah.
There's not always an exact science that they can't just walk in there and follow it and have a bajillion followers just because they did the right equation.
So speaking of things that there's not really a constant to, I'm going to ask you a question of something that is a constant for you. And this may be a little easier for you than others with your focus in the same general area. Like you said, you've got a really good lease that you hunt a lot. So what are 5 things that you would drive back home for to put in your pack if you forgot it on your way to the stand?
Hold on now, I got to think about my pack.
Yeah. Excluding you've got your ammo or your arrows, your gun, your license, other things that you're like, nope, not sitting all day without that.
Well, because I'm also that guy that I carry a pack that feels like it weighs 50 pounds because if I think I might need it, I've got it in there and I can tell you what pocket it was in.
All right.
Whereas Michael, carries a pack that feels like it's empty because it mostly is. But I'm the guy that if he needs it, I'm going to have it.
Well, I say you said y'all complement each other,
buddy,
so you're bringing enough for both of y'all.
Well, I mean, being the fat kid, I got to say you got to have snacks.
Okay.
If you didn't have any snacks, you better go back
And I've stopped everybody as soon as they said that. Be specific. What kind of snacks?
Well, I mean, especially hunting, you're going to start in the morning. So you got to start the day off with something sweet, whether that's an oatmeal cream pie or something.
There we
a
go.
little something to get the day started. But by midday, you're going to probably need some beef jerky, something with a little meat to the matter, and a ham sandwich ain't going to hurt.
Okay.
But I don't do very many all-day sits a year, but especially in Illinois every year I hunt the rut up there, and I'm going to do some all-day sits while I'm there. There's going to be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a ham and cheese sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly is a 10 o'clocker. The ham and cheese is a 2 o'clocker.
Okay. And was that a process to figure out which one needed to come first?
No, everybody knows peanut butter and jelly is for breakfast.
All right, hold on. Take that note.
So you're going to want to write that down. And the camera guy that was with me this year, his name's Jordan, and the first afternoon we sat down, and first thing he said is, I didn't bring my snacks. And I said, man, that's a problem. I reached over there and I pulled out a granola bar, and I said, here you go, buddy. That'll get you through the afternoon. He's a young guy. It don't take a lot. And a little while later, I was eating some beef jerky. I say a little while. About 15 minutes later, I'd already broke into the beef jerky. And we videoed a little reel about it, and I said, that's okay. I gave Jordan a granola bar. I said, Jordan, did you already eat that granola bar? Yeah, I sure did, right after you gave it to me. I said, rookie move. If you only have one snack, you got to save it till you really need it. But after that, as far as in a hunting scenario situation, optics.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many times I forgot my binos, and if you don't have those, I feel like I'm hunting blind.
So on the binos, is brightness or zoomability more important to you?
I'm a 10 power guy on my binos. I like to be able to see a good long ways.
Okay.
And with the partner we use, they just released last year their range finding binos, and that was the first year I've hunted with range finding binos.
Nice.
That was a game changer.
Well, that'll eliminate one extra thing in your pack that weighs 50 pounds.
Which I still have a range finder too, but that range finding binos was a big time game changer. And if you're looking for a pair of Hawk optics, make some good ones.
Got it.
But this year I only hunted one hunt that was very cold. But some hot hands or something of that nature is pretty important when it gets cold, but most of the time that's irrelevant. But I ain't going back for it. I'm just going to sit up there and whine about it the whole time
exactly.
because I'm cold. How many have I named off?
That's 4
you
or 5.
asked for 5.
That's 4 or 5.
A lot of things to forget.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't sit all day a lot, you said, so that eliminates one that came up a good bit.
Yeah, I don't sit all day very often.
Yeah.
If they aren't ready to play, we got something else we got to do, and we'll come back and try them again another time.
Okay, good deal. So what big plans do you have for your hunting season in 2024?
It used to be that, we hunted with a lot of outfitters, and we were out with those guys trying to make content to promote their outfitting business. And the more we do it, the more I just enjoy hunting with good friends that hopefully have some good deer. But if they don't, we're still going to go and have a good time. We hunted with a buddy in Michigan this year, and before we even got there, he said, guys, it's going to be hot. The deer probably aren't going to move all that much, and I can't tell you the last time I got a shooter buck on camera. But I guarantee you'll see a bunch of does. You might get lucky and shoot a buck, and we're going to have a good time.
We'll have campfires sitting
and
around.
we still rolled right into camp. I never saw a shooter buck. I did shoot a doe, but I mean, I had as good a time as anywhere else I went all year.
And you got that golden horseshoe that Michael's carrying around, so.
Well, Michael shot a buck, of course.
Okay. At that place?
Yeah.
Of course he did. So speaking of 2024, what are you most excited about that Spy Point's bringing to the table this year?
Well, they got a lot of cool new stuff. I like having the extra battery in the Flex Plus, but I've still got to go back to the Flex S. You know, after changing about 4 bajillion AA batteries, solar panel for me is where it's at.
Yeah.
Whether that's adding the big boy or a built-in like the Flex S, I got to have some solar. And that's most of our cameras on our leases are running around feed locations, because in the south we can still feed year round. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of deer coming through, and when they're there, they're staying for a while. So it's a lot of pictures. So AA batteries, you know, any camera, when it's taking that many pictures, it needs the power to support it, and the solar for me does that.
Awesome. Kevin, thanks for coming by today, man. Happy you're on Team Spy Point.
Appreciate you having me.